Welcome to the Positive Thread podcast. I'm Heather McConaughey, registered nurse turned nutrition and mindset coach, podcast host, and inspirational speaker. I have a passion for empowering millennial women because, well, I'm the oldest of the millennials. Think of me like your big millennial sister, here to help you avoid all the mistakes that I made along the way and inspire you to dream big and achieve your goals. Every week, I'll bring you an interview, topic, or Q&A session that will inspire you to transform your body, mind, and soul so you can achieve your dreams and make a positive impact in the world. We believe that when women prioritize self-care, everyone wins. If that sounds good to you, you're in the right place. Are you ready? Let's start the show. Maria, welcome to the podcast. I'm so excited to be interviewing you finally. It's been like too long that I haven't had you on, so I'm so excited that you're here.
No, thank you. I don't think have I ever been on?
No, you haven't. I don't know what I'm thinking. I'm excited.
But we talk on the weekly, so like we get to do this all the time. So we just never thought about it in this aspect.
We just never thought to include other people in our conversation.
Yeah. Well, I'm excited to be here. Thank you for having me.
My pleasure. Okay, we're going to start with the rapid fire section of the podcast. Are you ready?
I'm nervous. I'm just so nervous.
Okay, just don't pee your pants.
That's right.
Okay, what did you have for breakfast this morning?
I had oatmeal, egg whites, and almonds.
Nice. Okay, so healthy.
Baked egg whites in the oven.
You baked your egg whites in the oven. I've never thought to do that. How do you even do that?
I've been so lazy. So I got one of those 9x9s and I put some foil and then I just dumped all the egg whites on there, like an entire half carton. And then I topped it with cinnamon, stevia, and salt. And then I baked it and then I broiled the top. That's how I'm going to take it to my show. That way I don't have like scrambled egg whites. And then I cut them into squares. So it's like frittata.
Dude, that is like brilliant. Like, I need to do that. I'm so glad that we just talked for that thing alone. My life has changed.
All right, next question. I'm ready.
Okay, favorite self-care activity, go.
Oh, massage.
Favorite workout?
Shoulders.
That's very specific. It's not even just weightlifting, folks. It's like shoulders.
Like, slash a run, walk on the beach.
Love it. Okay, favorite meal?
Favorite meal would be egg whites topped with almond butter, cinnamon, salt, and sugar-free syrup.
Ooh, dang. Egg whites are like showing up hardcore today. Twice already.
So fat, high protein. They're great.
I know. I feel the same way about egg whites.
Actually, if it's not healthy, I would have to say a burger and fry for sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Favorite healthy meal, egg whites. Favorite non-healthy meal, burger and fries.
Oh, totally. Sweet potato fries. Yep.
Yes. Okay. Last book you read?
I haven't actually finished any of the ones I started. I would say complete cover to cover. Probably the Twilight one.
Oh, okay.
The last book. Or the Harry Potter one. There we go. But I don't think I've actually... That's a lie, actually. That's a big lie. It's a book called Unfuck Yourself. I finished that one cover to cover.
Okay. Awesome. What was your biggest takeaway from that?
How words are so powerful for how you live your life. Like, they dictate how your life turns out to be.
Yes. Words are everything. They create a world.
They do. Yeah.
Okay. What's your current mantra or affirmation?
I am perfect, whole, and complete just by myself.
Woo! Breathe that in, everyone. That's a good one.
What my therapist tells me to say to myself all the time, and I do.
Oh, I love it. I am perfect, whole, and complete just by myself.
Yeah. All by myself, just by being me.
Love it.
I don't need anyone to reaffirm that. Like, I am good just where I'm at.
Yeah, I love that. Okay, well, let's learn a little bit more about you. So can you tell us a little bit about you and what you do?
Yes. So we'll start at birth. Okay. So I was born in London, England.
This is going to be a 40-hour podcast episode because we're going to go through.
We're going to breeze through it really quick. Born in London, England. Moved to Sicily whenever I was 6 years old. Learned the Italian language. Moved to Springfield, Missouri when I was 11. Had to relearn English from English to American English. Lived there for about from 11 to 26. And then I moved to Huntington Beach, California whenever I was 26 and a half, I think. So I'm multicultural. My dad's Italian. My mom's American. I've got dark hair, big features, big eyebrows, all of that, big personality to match. Whenever I was in Springfield, I went through a really toxic relationship. It was like a 6-year relationship. And after I ended that, I kind of took 2 years to just party my balls off. And I'm like, I'm single. I've been abused. Let's have fun. So I took 1.5 years to just eat and drink as I please and gained a bunch of weight from doing that. In the process, I got myself into some debt from trying to live a life I couldn't afford with all of my older friends. And so once I was super, super broke and very much overweight, I kind of had this reality check. I looked at myself in the mirror one day and I was just like, you have got to get your stuff together. Like, this is not healthy. Your finances are not going anywhere. You're living in your mom's basement. Like, come on, Maria. So at that point, I did a slim down program with a local trainer. And I had been kind of lifting weights on and off for a while. We figured out how much muscle that I had. So then that turned into a show prep since we were already lean. And so after my first show, I won all the classes that I was in. I was like, oh, I guess I'm kind of good at this. Let's do some more. So after that, I began helping my friends to lose weight and figured out I was good at that also. I was like, okay, this is my thing now. But let's make a business out of this. And then that's kind of how I met you, was through the coaching program that I signed up for to help me grow myself as a fitness coach online. So that's where I was at. The business did really great. It allowed for me to move out here to California, and I've been doing that ever since.
The rest is history, folks.
Yes.
Now we're besties. Yeah.
So cool how that turned out too.
Yeah, it just shows how when you invest in yourself and you take a leap of faith, like, you have no idea what's on the other side of it. Like, not just like with your business, but like the relationships that you create.
Mm-hmm. I know, it's crazy to me to think out of all of the people in that program at the time, and there was a lot, somehow we gravitated towards each other. You know, if out of 50 people, you and Ashton are the ones that stuck. Like, you know, and Angelica, like how it's just really cool how that happened, you know?
Well, we were just meant to be together.
Yes.
Spirits. We were soulmates. So,
and it allowed for Ashley and I to stay at your place for a conference, and you didn't even know who we were. You just kind of knew us from online. Like, we could have slashed you up and worn your skin. Like, you took a big risk, right?
Thank God that didn't happen.
Right.
Instead, you made me oatmeal and put me through like a HIIT workout at the gym.
And you were like, I'm going to keep her for life now.
She's in. She's a keeper. So, well, I kind of know how much like fitness and health has changed my life. And I'd love to hear how fitness and this pursuit of being your best self and your healthiest self in body and mind has changed your life.
Mm-hmm. Oh my gosh, so much. I think when I did my first prep, I cut alcohol out for like 14 weeks. And that was something that was really prominent in my life beforehand. So by doing that, I was really able to concentrate on myself, and I had to find other ways of engaging with people. And I really saw my life for what it was. So I almost had this outside view and perspective of what all my other friends were doing. So by doing that, I started valuing my health. I got more organized because I was working 3 to 4 jobs at a time, trying to get the gym in. So I got organized in that department. I figured out how important nutrition was. So I taught myself how to cook my meals and how to make them tasty. I've had a coach since then. So I've always been given macros. So I've really taken the time to make those macros taste good because I'm a foodie. My dad was a chef and I just love the act of chewing food. I love food. So I had to really make that work within my life. And once I realized what investing in my health did for me in terms of growth, I decided to take a leap of faith and invest in my business. And when I invested in my business and found out how amazing it made my life, I'm like, cool, let's invest in a mindset coach. So I keep finding areas of my life that need improvement, and I keep investing, a lot of money into them because I know the reward that I'm going to get. It comes back tenfold. And then with that help, I'm able to help my clients better too, because all of that information kind of trickles down to them. So just by doing that, I've made amazing friendships because my values have changed. Going out to the bars is not my number one priority now. Connection, and memories is with my friends. And that's something that, is completely different from me 5 years ago.
I love what you said about how you almost use like fitness as like a springboard into transforming other areas of your life. It's like once you elevate your body, it's like there's more to life too, right? There's like our relationships, our mindset, our business. So it's like if you can transform your body, like what else in your life can you transform?
Because this body that I had, it was always that thought in the back of my mind, like, oh, I need to lose weight. Oh, I'm not good enough. This doesn't fit right. I need to change. I'm going to start Monday. I said that probably for 4 years before that. Especially those last 2 years, I would undereat during the week and then I would go balls to the wall on the weekend. And on Sunday or Saturday, I was like, I'm going to have a cheat day Sunday and then Monday I'm going to start. And I did that for years. So yeah, it definitely is a springboard because once I was able to master the hardest part, like the biggest struggle that I had, I was like, okay, cool. If I can do this, which most people can't, what else is out there? Like what's one level up from this? How can I take this a step further? And so I started watching a lot of people online. I was like, how do they get that life? And in my head, I'm like, okay, well, it's possible because they're doing it. And physically, I've got the brain, I've got the body. So it's just a number of action steps before I can get to that point. So what are those action steps and how can I implement them? So I just kind of started checking off boxes and taking those actions until I got to where I wanted to be. And then once I was there, it's like, cool, what's next? Always goal setting.
So simple, but so powerful to reverse engineer things. Like look at where you want to be and then what are the steps you need to take and then start breaking those down into micro actions and just start checking them off. And then like once you've reached that, like what's the next goal? I think that's so powerful.
Okay. Yeah, if I thought about like the grand plan, I would get overwhelmed. So all I did was just take it in steps. Like this is what I need to do this week, or this is what I need to accomplish this month. That way it wasn't so overwhelming with me.
Yeah. And that's so important too with our clients, right? Like I was just talking to one of my clients today about how she's like, oh, am I ever going to lose my belly? And she's already lost like 25 pounds, but she's got another 25 really to lose, right? And it's like, if you just looked at this goal of like, oh, I have to lose 50 pounds, it could feel really overwhelming. But if you're like, okay, I'm going to lose a pound each week, like in a year, you will have achieved your goal.
Yep. Baby steps.
Okay, so you're in the midst of wrapping up bikini competition season. And I'm curious if you could go a little bit deeper into what prompted you to start doing bikini competitions. Like you kind of alluded to the fact that you were already lean, so you decided to do that. And I'd love to hear like, what do you love about it? But like, what's also the hardest part of it?
Absolutely. So, and not a lot of people know this, but the reason I actually signed up for my bikini competition is because I needed something to make me stop drinking. Like I needed to commit to something. And it's not like I had like a physical addiction. I was just addicted to going out and socializing that way. So I had gotten myself pretty lean, but I was still kind of drinking here and there. And I was just like, you know what? I just want to take a break. I obviously can't do it on my own. So I'm going to commit to being in a tiny little sparkly thong bikini on stage. And I'm going to invest this money for this show fee and the hair and the makeup. And then once I did that, I had to take it seriously. So I broke that routine that I had and I created these new habits. And what I love about competing is the discipline and the structure that it teaches you. Like I had to prepare my meals the day before. I had to meal prep twice a week. I had to track my food. I had to make time to go to my workout at 6 a.m., which means I had to go to bed early, which means I couldn't go out. It gave me a process. And I talk about this, we're born with a process. It's our default programming. It's what was instilled in us from the ages of 0 to like 11 or 12. It's our unconscious. So whenever something happens to us, immediately this is how we react. So that's our default process or program. I had to build my new program that my conscious mind worked every single day. So although I may feel a certain way initially, I know mentally that feeling's not right and this is how I should act and this is what I should do. So competing taught me how to start my new program. So, and also I'm fascinated with muscles and obviously with fat loss too, because I help my clients with that as well. So to see my body change in pictures, it is so cool. And I love goal setting and I love crushing goals. So every single week I get to crush my goal. I get a good job from my coach. I can see the hard work show up on the scale and in pictures. And that's very, very rewarding. My mom told me that I was always going to have the Rose hips, which is, our family's last name. Her last name was Rose, and they all had bigger hips. So when I lost my weight, those Rose hips went away. That's just where my fat was stored. That in my arms, just randomly. It couldn't be my boobs or my butt, but my arms and my stomach. So then I just became obsessed with seeing my muscles, and then I would see my veins, and I'm a total bro. I'm like, oh, look at my muscles. And it's so good for me because I always felt like I was a little bit overweight, and I was never really satisfied with my body. So to find a place where I was satisfied and I was proud of what I've created, that feels really good. And I would say that the hardest thing, there's two really hard things. One, being that I love food, not restriction, because I can be flexible with my food, but I can't enjoy as many meals out while I'm in prep. And that's something that I really love to do because I love flavors. And I've got this fear of missing out on something amazing. The second hardest thing about competing is after the competition. The competition's fine. I put on, and my stage name is Veronica. She does, and she struts her stuff. Maria would never do that. Maria's very shy, but Veronica, she kills it out there. So that's not even the hardest part. It's having to gain fat afterwards because you work for 20 weeks, 6 months. This time I've been working a year for this. And so for me to have to put weight on and see that number go up when I've worked so hard to bring that number down, it's such a mindset. It like screws with your mind so much. And I can't stay this way forever. It's not good for my hormones, my metabolism. And so I have to watch that number go up, and then all my clothes start fitting different and they start getting tighter. And then of course you buy a ton of clothes when you're super lean because everything looks good. And then you're like, this doesn't fit anymore. So I've got like these two separate piles of jeans. One are my prep jeans, and then one is my normal weight jeans. And so as I grow out of these, I have to, scoot over to these other ones, and it's hard to see yourself gain fat.
Right, because you've worked so hard to get that result. Is it just really difficult to maintain that level of leanness, or is it just not super healthy, or both?
Both. So if I were to try and maintain this, I would eventually, because your body will downregulate. So if I'm eating 1,400 calories and I'm this lean, then I'll start maintaining at 1,400 calories. And then you can't live a life eating 1,400 calories. You can't go out to eat. You can't drink. And so being this lean too, your hormones are stored in your fat cells. So as your hormones go down when you prep, everything starts changing. Your periods get messed up. I don't have a period right now. Your hair starts falling out. Your progesterone will go down. You start to have anxiety and squirrel brain. So you really don't want to stay this lean for a period of time. And the people that you see on Instagram that are this lean, you have no idea what's going on behind the scenes for them. They may be having digestive issues. A lot of bodybuilders will become intolerant to foods that they eat over and over and over again. They may be binging on the side or bulimic, trying to chase this look. Yeah, you really don't want to be that lean for a long period of time. And most people will gain their weight back, if not, right after their show. If they try to stay that lean, something will happen to where a year down the line, they'll blow up. You have to fix your metabolism afterwards. And that involves gaining a little bit of weight in order to do so.
Wow, so many interesting dynamics in the competitions. And yeah, I can't wait to see how you do in your show. And one of the things that I love about you is your social media. And what I love about your social media is that you really are your authentic self on there, because I actually know who you are as a real person, right? Because I'm your friend. I'm not just like somebody who follows you, but then I can watch your social media and be like, yeah, this is the real Maria, right? Like she's drop dead gorgeous, but she's also like a bro at the gym. She's also like really goofy and like is super silly and bizarre, but she also has an amazing heart and she cares about people and loves people, wants them to win. So I think you do a really good job of, sharing vulnerably and bringing people into your life. So I wanted to find out kind of what are your secrets to social media and what are some of the biggest gifts and challenges of being so visible on social?
Biggest gifts is the amount of impact that I can make. I get a lot of messages from people saying, thank you for this cookbook, or I love this recipe, or thank you for chatting with me. Not a lot of people respond, or me just like posting something about macros, people are like, oh my gosh, I've always wanted to learn how to do this. So the fact that I can give value to people and help people and make them happy and less stressed, that brings me a lot of joy. You know, you and I are both empaths. So like when other people are happy, I'm happy. When they're excited, I'm excited. So when I get to feel what other people feel, I obviously like that a lot. Now, the downside to that is like all the personal stuff. So, you know, being public, and part of my social media is like me sharing my real self. So when I'm having downs, I share that. Relationships, I share that too. And that can be very overwhelming. Like if you get in a new relationship, you almost don't want to like disappoint your followers and like introduce someone if it's not going to work out. Cause then you got to like, oh, you know, you got to take it back. So you have to be kind of careful. And then of course, if it is, you know, if it does work out and then they see you as this, you know, couple, and then, you know, they tell you, oh, you guys are perfect. And then behind the scenes, maybe it's not, then you have that pressure to like stay together. And then also just the time that it takes to post and create content. You know, I joke that if my business wasn't on Instagram or social media, I wouldn't be on here as much, because you do miss out living in the moment. You get addicted to checking your phone to make sure that you don't get overwhelmed with messages. And, you know, like I know exactly where the Instagram is on my phone. So when I pick up my phone, my thumb just shoots up to the top right-hand corner. I'm like, no, come back. You still have an hour for your meditation and your yoga. Put it down.
Your thumb like knows where it is.
Yeah, but you get addicted to it. You have work to do. And so taking the time to do photo shoots and do your hair and makeup and, you know, do cooking, it's almost like you can't even enjoy a meal these days because you're like, oh, I got to post this. And I like doing that. Whenever I take digital detox days, I don't do those. I'm not going to lie to you. But I did like 2 times. And I just felt like I was taking value away from people. Like I would something cool would happen and I'd be like, oh, I want to share this with them. And I was like, no, I can't, because I'm doing a digital detox, you know? And so I felt sad that I couldn't share my breakfast, because I'm like, someone may help someone.
Right.
You know? So you have that pressure to be on there all the time, and you get addicted to giving people stuff. So I would say that's the downside. And then I think you asked too, like what my strategy was for social media.
Secrets, because you've been really good at growing your social media and building your business with it. So I'm sure people would love to hear about that.
I literally don't care. Like I show up on my stories and I don't give 2 flying bleeps about what anyone thinks. If I'm in a funny mood, I'm going to post funny selfies. I'm going to dance like my white girl self knows how to do. I'm going to lip sync and then get it wrong and put it on social media. I really don't care. You know, and I think a lot of people appreciate that, because everyone does that. But not a lot of people are okay with showing up as imperfect or weird. And back in the day, and still from time to time, you know, I've got this fear of being judged. But the more I don't care about that and post what I want to post, and people respond in a very positive way, the more it reinforces me to just be me. And I think the biggest thing for me is when COVID hit, I started doing a lot of reach out. You know, I started checking on people, started establishing relationships, because none of us could see each other in person. We missed that connection. So I just started messaging people. I was like, hey, I don't know you. I'm here. Where are you from? Let's chat. And I think that really helped my engagement too, because it brought people, you know, to my page, and it made them feel connected to me too. And it was nice for me also to just converse with people, because, you know, that physical part, we don't have anymore. So I would say that, and, you know, I've got this color scheme too that kind of is cool. So it makes my page look cohesive. That's just extra time. So another negative extra time. We've got to put a filter on it and make sure the filter's good. And then I try to mix it up between, you know, nutrition, workouts, and mindset and lifestyle. And not great at the workout portion just because I don't have someone to film me, but I do mostly nutrition, mindset, and I do some workouts too. It's just not a main priority. And I go through phases. Sometimes I'm like, Maria, you've been cooking a lot on your social media. Throw up something about Chloe, okay? Like your life.
Chloe is Maria's adorable little dog, everybody. It's the cutest. So
yeah, she's a Yorkie poo. She's 8.5 years old. She's got 8 teeth left. She's got horrible teeth, but she still acts like a puppy. Everyone thinks she's a puppy.
Okay, so let's go back to the body. And what are some of your tricks for building muscle and shedding fat at the same time? Because you need to be a master at that.
I would say carbs. A lot of people are afraid of carbs, and carbs nourish our thyroid. Our thyroid is very much responsible for how many calories we burn a day. Low thyroid equals lower calories burned, higher thyroid, more calories burned. So making sure that carbs are kept in the system is super, super important, and making sure those carbs are mostly pre and post workout, because you want energy from the carbohydrates. So carbs, when entered the body, they get turned into glucose. Once they're in glucose, they get stored in our muscle bellies as glycogen. This is like energy for our muscles. So when we work out, we tap into those glycogen stores. So having enough carbs pre-workout for you to have an amazing workout, one that makes those tiny little micro tears in your muscles, that's what you want. And then afterwards, you need those carbs as a source of energy to help you to recover. So think of your muscles like a crying baby. The number one thing that they want is that pacifier or that nipple. So carbs are the same thing. They're like a nipple, Heather. So you put the pacifier or the bottle, yes, in the baby's mouth, and then it shuts up and it's good and it moves on, right? So it's the same thing for your muscle. So making sure you've got carbs pre and post workout. That way the muscle has what it needs. It's full of that glycogen. It can use the protein as a source of repair as well. And then I would say the number one thing that you can do for fat loss and muscle building is carb cycling. So pairing your high carb days on the days that you're wanting to grow the most. So for me, it would be my glute days. And then your low carb days and the days that you're resting. This is a really great way for your body to kind of be all over the place, because the body will get used to a set of macros. It will get used to a set of training. So if you can shock it by going high, low, or high, medium, low, then you're just tricking it and you're making it work hard. The body's actually lazy. It doesn't want to do that. So it will down regulate and it will make it to where it doesn't have to work as hard over time.
I love those tips. And carb cycling is something that really transformed my body when I first started tracking macros. And it's a technique that I use with my clients too. And it's cool to hear that you use that as well.
Carb cycling. I do calorie cycling too. There's also a thing called fat cycling that you can do. I mean, there's so many different tools. You can do keto also. Keto is more for fat loss. So I did that for a while I was in prep. It's really not the best way to build muscle, but it's one of the best ways to lose fat if you can stick to it. A lot of people just don't have the lifestyle or the strength to be able to stick to keto. Once you can get in there and you're in ketosis, you feel amazing, and the fat just comes off super quick. But all of those are just tools,
I love it. Okay, make some notes if you're listening, because this is little gold nuggets. So let's go talk a little bit about your business. So we met through the same sales and marketing coach, like we talked about. And I just want to hear a little bit more about what prompted you to start your business. Was it just that people were asking you for help and you were already helping people, or what had you start it?
Freedom. I have a house in Italy still. Sicily, and
when are we going?
I know when my dad can go, because I don't know how to set that up. So we have a vineyard, and it's like out of a movie. Like if you've seen any of those Italian movies with the vineyards and the big house and the forest, that's how I grew up. You can see the ocean through the mountains. Wow. And so I remember being there.
The reason we were friends.
Do what?
I said I knew there was a reason we were friends.
I know. Girls trip. So when I was 16, I went home and I sat on my terrace. Yes, I have a terrace. And I was looking out over my vineyard into the mountains, at the islands in the ocean. And I was like, you know what? I want to be able to do this for longer than 2 weeks. I want the freedom to be able to travel and be able to come back home for months on end, which means that I need to have my own business that is just for my laptop. I was like, I don't know how I'm going to make this happen, but I'll figure something out. So whenever I discovered competing and heard about online coaches, I was like, okay, this could be it. So that's why I signed up with our coach, is because I wanted to be able to make a good living from my laptop, because I wanted to travel. I wanted to have that freedom. I had been slaving away working 8 a.m. to 10 p.m. for 3 years. I was working 3 different jobs. I was running an engineering firm from 8 to 3. Doing spa work from 3 to 6, and then working at my dad's restaurant from 6 to 10, sometimes 12, if there was a party. So I wanted that freedom to just go and do what I wanted to do. And I have achieved that. I literally travel all across the world, across the US. I worked while I was in Bali. I visit people all the time in different states. I go to Hawaii to visit my sister and I can work. We're going to go to Cabo and I can do work there. So that's really why I wanted an online business, is because I wanted the freedom to live my life and to make those memories. Memories to me are so important, and experiences. I don't even know if that's a love language, but if that was a love language, that would be my number one, is like experiences and memories, like going somewhere with someone or by myself and just like capturing that mental moment. And that's not something that I felt like I could do very well working an 8 to 5 for someone else. I told my dad, because his was the last job that I quit. As I made more income, I started quitting jobs. And I told my dad, I was like, Dad, I can't grow my business if I'm working for you. And I told him, I was like, it's time for me to stop working on your dream and start working on mine. And then my business blew up afterwards.
That's so beautiful. Like, I love that you were like, I need to stop working on your dream and start working on mine. And I had that realization too as an entrepreneur. I was like, I'm a very hard worker. Like when I was working as a nurse, it'd be like at the end of a 12-hour shift and I'd still be like bouncing up to clean the beds. Like that wasn't even technically my job, but like I would like clean the beds and change the sheets. And I was like, I just couldn't sit still. Like I want to work. I have a good work ethic. And I think one of the light bulb moments for me in running my business was, wow, I could take that work ethic that I'm giving to somebody else for like $30 an hour, and I could turn that into a business. Like I could put that work ethic in myself. And I think that's such a cool feeling when you realize like that you want to pursue your own dreams. You want to put that energy into you.
It's the strangest thing being a business owner, because I've always worked for people. So like when my assistant coach, Carrie, she's a friend of mine too, when she calls me her boss, I'm like, what? I'm boss? I guess I am. I guess I'm a CEO. Like I've created a business and it's really cool and it's really successful and people love it. It's like my little baby. It's the coolest thing. There's also a lot of stress that comes with that too. Like you never really stop working and balance has been hard, but I've created something magical by myself. Of course I've had help, but like, I don't know. It's just very strange. If you would have known me 5 years ago, being at an after party, doing God knows what, to now, two completely different people.
I would take the time machine and go back and meet that Maria.
It was a blast back then. We both had a great time. I was a blast in the glass. Still blast in the glass, just a little bit more ripped.
So what advice would you give to somebody who wants to start their own online business, maybe an online fitness business, coaching business, and wants to have that same level of freedom?
Yeah, find a mentor. So I think her name is Sammy Gregory. She was the girl that told me about our coaches program. And I had watched her and I had watched her grow her online business. I was like, okay. So I messaged her and I was like, hey, I want what you have. How did you do it? And she's like, this is what I did. I was like, great. So then I signed up for the program and then I started looking at other mentors. I was like, cool. I want what you have. How did you do it? So I started asking people, like, how did you get to where you're at? So of course, by reading books and talking with other people like you had there in Ashland, like I've been able to get like little bits and pieces and have just started implementing. And I think also once you get there, obviously like investing in yourself, investing in books, investing in coaches and mentors. I've had a coach for 5 years. I've had multiple coaches. I've got 2 fitness coaches right now. I've got a mindset coach and I've got my brand coach. Like, what else can we do? I'm going to invest in a hair lady to come once a week. I don't know. But anyways,
coach.
Right. Yeah, like a hair braiding coach. So yeah, just like find someone who's got it done. Figure out how they did it. So ask them questions and then honestly invest in yourself. If business related, invest in your business. Look for a reputable coach, talk to their clients, see how their experience was, and then join that program. If it's fitness related, find someone that you want to look like, see how they did it, and then invest in that. So I think just investing financially and also with your time too is huge. And then also being okay with failing. I have failed so many times, like so many. Now that doesn't make me a permanent failure because I learn each time I fail. The only time you're a permanent fail is if you fail and then you just don't do anything about it. But if you can learn and grow from that, then that's awesome. But like, don't be afraid to make mistakes because no one ever got anywhere by playing it safe. I played it safe for 4 years. I'm just going to live in Springfield. It's fine. I'll just live in my mom's basement and then someone will snatch me up and make me a wife and then I'll just have kids and then I'll live in a house and be a mom. Like that will be easy for me. You know, like that was very boring and it was very safe. And then at one point I was like, no, I want to move to a beach. I want to have $1 million. I want to be able to travel across the world and be able to change lives. That sounds a lot better. Now, how do I do that? So then just started checking off boxes, started taking actions.
It's so simple, folks. Like, it's really just about reverse engineering where you want to be. And I think it's a gold nugget, what you just said, which is find what you want and someone who's achieved it and say, I want what you have. How did you do it? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It's really that simple. And I also love
asking for help.
Yeah. Like, don't be ashamed to ask for help. Like, if you're listening and there's something that you want that somebody else has, whether it's finances, a relationship, a business, the body, like the dream house, like whatever it is, like reach out to them and ask them how they did it. And don't be ashamed to ask for help.
I'm not self-made. I have had so much help and I'm okay with that. Just the other day, one of my neighbors, I love the decor in her place. And so 5 different times I've been like, hey, where'd you get that? Help. I like what you have. How did you get it? Where's it from?
Totally. I've had that breakthrough recently too, because I'm a very independent person, but I've realized that independence has a like dark side to it as well. And it can lead to isolation and overwhelm for me. And so one of the things I've started doing as kind of a game is like, okay, how can I find someone to help me with this thing? So like, I'm looking for a new apartment now. And so I'm like, okay, like it felt very overwhelming. Like that's not something I enjoy doing, is sorting through things and making. So I was like, wait, there's somebody I can hire to do that. It doesn't even cost me any money. Like the apartment complex pays for when I sign a lease. Like, you know, it's like, oh, and then I have a friend who decorates. Like, oh, I don't have to worry about that. Like there's always a solution, someone who can help us. And I also love what you said about like that life of being a stay-at-home mom in Springfield could have been like your safe kind of like exit thing, but that you went for something riskier. And I have this quote that's by Mark Zuckerberg on my corkboard. And it says, in a world that's changing really quickly, the only strategy that is guaranteed to fail is not taking risks.
Yeah, absolutely.
So keep taking risks. If you're listening, take a risk today, take a risk this week. Okay, what's been your biggest challenge in 2020 and your biggest victory?
Okay, biggest challenge. I would say it has been connection. Working from home, I don't see a lot of people. So then when COVID happened, all of the activities that I would normally do got taken away. So I've very much felt isolated. And I know we feel very similar in that. And then, you know, having a long distance relationship, that was hard. And that kind of started during COVID. So we didn't actually get to date really. So like that has been difficult as well. So I think just like being able to do stuff with people, and I'm a hugger. So I've been rejected so many times and I forget that we're in a global pandemic. So I'm like slightly offended when it happens. I'm like, you don't want to hug. Oh, wait, oh yeah, you're right. That's probably a bad idea. Yeah, just being able to hug like, you know, friends and being able to get together in gatherings. Like I love concerts and festivals and I haven't been able to do any of that. So I resort to dancing by myself with my dog in my apartment. And, you know, it's fine. There's something about being in a live concert with music that almost blows your ears out, but it's just the best. So that would be my biggest struggle. And then biggest success would be navigating COVID with my business and finances. I think in March when it all happened, I called my mom. I was like, Mom, I'm going to go broke. Do you still have room for me in the basement? And I had just gotten out of a relationship then. So I was like, I have no one, like help. And so I had to get really creative and I hired my brand manager to help me get creative like that. And it ended up being an amazing thing for my business. Obviously, the fact that the pandemic is here is awful and a lot of people have lost their lives, but I think it's really made people realize how important their health is. And since gyms closed and everything, everyone was just looking for home workouts. Like they don't want to get COVID. They want their immune systems. They want muscle. They don't want to, sorry if you can hear my dog. That's Chloe announcing her presence. But my biggest success would be my business this year. It just like skyrocketing and also finding balance. Now that I don't have as many events planned because of COVID, I've had more time to myself. So I think I've found that work-life balance a little bit to where I'm not working 6 days a week, 8 hours a day. Now it's like, you know, 10 or 12 to 5 Monday through Friday. And I feel like that is something that I really struggled with in 2019 and a little bit there in 2020 until the pandemic. So it forced me to slow down, which was nice. I think it forced everyone to slow down.
Yeah, I've definitely have a much slower pace of life. And in some ways it like has given me anxiety, but I'm learning like to kind of surrender to it right now and like really enjoy it. I'm like, wow, I have more time to meditate. Like,
yeah. 50 minutes, no big deal.
50 minutes. Yeah, I've got like 4 hours tonight, like no plans. So I guess I can at least do 50 minutes of meditation. So, okay, well, let's end on something kind of fun, which is if you could eat any meal or food and not gain any weight and you would still be healthy and feel vital, okay, all of those things, what would it be?
It would be a pretzel bun burger. And the burger would be like a fatty burger, like 85% fatty. And then on top would be cheese, candied bacon, caramelized onions, maybe like a fried onion ring, some arugula, goat cheese or blue cheese. I don't care. Just any sort of stinky cheese. And then I would have sweet potato fries on the side with like an icing dipping and then also a side of honey mustard and just a Coke Zero for balance.
Coke Zero for balance. You heard it here. That burger sounds amazing. It also sounds like you've thought about that burger.
Not at all. Not at all.
Maria, thank you so much for being on the podcast. If people want to connect with you and find out more about you, where can they find you?
Yeah, thank you for having me on the podcast. You can find me in social media, Instagram at Maria_G_fit. I also have a website. It is mariagfit.com. So you can reach out to me there as well. I also have a Facebook and it's just Maria Gargiulo. My last name is Gargiulo. I'm never on there because my attention's all on social media, but you can also reach me through Heather. So yeah.
That's right. Just send me a DM and I'll introduce you to.
Yeah, she's got my info. She knows.
Yeah. Well, we love you. Thanks for being here and good luck on your competition.
Thank you so much. Love your face. Bye.
Thank you so much for listening to the podcast. If you found this valuable, please take a screenshot of the episode, upload it to your Instagram stories, and tag me at Heather McConaughey with your takeaway. Also, if you love the podcast, please subscribe, rate the podcast, and leave a review. I read all the reviews and they mean so much to me. New episodes drop every 2 weeks on Sunday, and I can't wait to get to know you better and share more life-affirming wellness, business, and mindset tips with you. Talk to you in 2 weeks.